waiting for Kim?
He's here.
He's here.
You want? Let's give him a round of applause.
Hey!
That's fast.
That's fast. That's true. We do technically have some seconds. Well, albeit seconds before we should start, we will still get started. So, welcome to this Lehi Planning Commission on March 12th, 2026. I call this meeting to order, and we'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion for item 2.1. Motion being that we approve the minutes from the February 26, 2026 meeting.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Oh, I did fail to mention we are excusing Commissioner Jackson tonight, who's not feeling well. We're excited to have Polo here with us, though.
Hello.
And, yeah, let's move on to the regular agenda.
Item 3.1 is public hearing and consideration of John Allred's request for approval of a conditional use for the conversion of an existing accessory building into a detached ADU located at 409 West, 900 North. Detached ADUs are permitted in the R2 zone and require a minimum lot size of 14,520 square feet. The detached accessory structure was constructed in 1980. Because the structure was constructed prior to 2021, a conditional use permit is required. The ADU exceeds the minimum 300 square foot requirement based on the size shown, and tenant parking will be in front of the unit in the driveway to ensure there is off-street parking. The ADU is set 12 feet back from the side yard property line, which provides an adequate setback. There were 4 red line comments from the DRC, including that the property boundaries need to be cleaned up, and to recommend checking with the title company on that. Conditional uses are administrative items. If they meet the code, they must be approved. The Planning Commission may place reasonable conditions on the use to mitigate against any potential negative impacts to neighbors. This is a public hearing item, but there were no online comments for this one, so I turn it back to the Commission for any questions.
Any questions for staff?
I have a question. Is this the red roof, right? That's the ADU?
Yes.
And it looks really close to the house, so there's no requirement for distance between the 2 buildings?
Since this is a conversion of an existing structure, there isn't a requirement for that.
Okay.
If it were a new build, there would be.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Is the applicant present? Yes. Please come on and share anything else you'd like to share with us, including your name.
John Allred. We just had it surveyed. I did send it to Kim and a couple others, but so the survey is done. We're going to take it now and do quitclaim deeds with the neighbors. And they've already agreed to me with the fence line. So we should be in good shape there. Anything else?
There was the concern of the cleaning of the property line. It sounds like you're working on that with the neighbor, which is what
that's
you
the
just
survey,
mentioned.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything else that you wanted to add?
We have 6 foot between the house and the garage, where the garage is going to be the ADU. Utilities will come from the west side of the house. We've got the gas, the sewer, and the electric. And it'll come around the side and then go straight into the ADU. So,
Any questions for the applicant? All right, I think you're scotch-free for a moment. Thank you. This is a public hearing. If anybody would like to speak to this item, you're invited to do so now. Please come up.
Do the microphones work here? I can't hear you back here.
Can you hear me better now? Sorry, I'll speak into the microphone. I apologize. This is a public hearing, though. If you wanted to speak to this item, you're invited to come up now.
I hope I got the right place, but I just want to find out this is gonna start at 1630 south, and it's gonna go 500 east. But how far back is it gonna go?
I'm not sure. Are you speaking to this item of the ADU? The accessory dwelling unit that we're talking about that's on the screen behind me?
I think he might be on the item down by Spring Creek Ranch.
That's what I'm talking about, because
Oh,
Yeah, that's a later item.
yeah, we're not to that item yet, but we will get there. Is there anybody else who would like to speak to this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission.
I don't have any concerns.
I'm going to make a motion.
I'd love that.
All right. I'll move that we approve the proposed conditional use and site plan. Please include the DRC findings, and found that it's an existing building. The setbacks are great, and feel like it'll add to the neighborhood and help the family.
Second.
Motion.
There were quite a few DRC comments. Can we add
He
those?
did, he did.
I
Did include the
That was my first.
Thank you. I
Started
totally
there.
missed it. Totally missed it.
Motion and a second with DRC comments included. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, you're good to go. Let's move on to 3.2.
So item 3.2 is public hearing and consideration of AWA Engineering's request for approval of a conditional use for a drive-through for the Golden West Credit Union located at 520 West Main Street. The drive-through is part of Phase 2 of the development and will be located on the northwest part of the property. The drive-through is expected to generate minimal additional traffic and is intended to provide safe vehicle stacking and efficient on-site circulation. A traffic study was reviewed, and it was found that the accesses will continue to operate at acceptable levels of service with the addition of the credit union. There were 7 red line comments from the DRC, primarily related to the overall site plan and not the drive-through, but please consider these in your motion. Conditional uses are administrative items. If they meet the code, they must be approved. This is a public hearing item, but there were no comments online, so turn it back to the commission for any questions.
Any questions for staff? For reference, this is the old Maverick station.
Yes, yeah, by the roundabout.
Any questions for staff?
Do we have any, Gary, do we have any concerns about like sight lines or anything like that coming out of the drive-through turning right onto Main Street?
That was actually something looked at by our traffic engineer before he left, and I think he was okay with the way it is right there.
Okay.
That was a concern that he had, though, and the position of the drive as it attaches onto Main Street there, but I think it's all okay the way they've got it designed.
Okay.
Good question, though.
Will there be any physical barrier preventing someone from turning left?
There will be.
There'll be a physical curb or
There's gonna be
something?
a curb or a median in the road there. It's just a little six-inch high one, but yeah, there will be.
All right. Is the applicant present?
Good evening. My name is Rick Magnus with AWA Engineering, here on behalf of AWA. Go figure, right? We first of all, thanks to your staff for helping us through this little site that is, this is a tricky site, but having the drive-through up there in the northwest corner is just perfect for operations. It's perfect for traffic flow, and this gives us the opportunity to bring that building forward, which is required in the downtown overlay. So you see that the configuration works. To your question, the ride-in, ride-out, we moved that as far west on the property line so that we could have good spacing. I think you remember the user before, it was a little tricky sometimes. But with the roundabout, the flow, and the location, this is a great location for this ATM, and also there's another drive aisle that you actually are able to communicate with people in the office and get that transaction taken care of. So I'm here to concur with staff recommendations and then answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions for the applicant?
I have a question, if I may. I know it's not in the historical downtown area, but it's very close. Are you guys going to add anything that'll draw in that historical features that are already on Main Street?
So not with this application. However, with the application we had previously here to rezone it and that, we were required to kind of enhance each and every elevation of the building so that as you look down Main Street and, of course, come around heading west, you're going to see an enhanced building with features that are inviting. And, you know, Golden West appreciates this because there's a great sight line to see that building.
What do you mean by enhanced building?
It means that all four sides of the building are going to be treated with more than one material. So you're going to have diversity in material, also features of that, once again, allow that building to look interesting as you come down towards that roundabout.
Okay, thank you. But as far as like the brick that is used on Main Street or any of that, those kind of features, are you able to do that? I know we can't make you, but
so we were required. This is actually in an overlay, if you can believe it, that the property to the west of us is not in that overlay, but we are.
You are, yeah, okay.
So we are conforming to those design criteria on a building itself.
Awesome. It is a great, coming into that roundabout,
Yeah.
of course, it's a big, tall roundabout, so you won't see it directly, but it'll be right there. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
I got a question.
Yes.
Sorry. So this area sees a lot of traffic, especially backed up traffic. On that 500 West, coming south, there's often traffic built up. Is there, in your traffic study, did you guys see a lot of concern turning left from Main Street? So you come around the roundabout, you turn
Yes.
right, and then you turn left into there. Is there anything that's blocking the traffic from turning left into there?
So if you're talking about the access onto Main Street,
No, talking about access from 500 West at the north end of the project.
So that was, we reviewed that and the traffic movement for that. The traffic engineer, your staff, and us, we determined that we would be able to make a left-hand turn into that access that's on 5th West. But as human nature knows, that if you're going to come around there isn't a lot of stacking area, so you're not going to see that. What you'll see is people naturally coming through the roundabout, then just making a right into the property. That's the easy flow to do that. And then they would go through the parking area and then be able to turn left into that
To the ATM.
into
So we're
the
not stacking
ATM.
into Main Street. We're going to go
yeah,
through the
no.
roundabout and turn right.
Yes,
'Kay.
absolutely.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Good. Okay,
So,
I'm here if you have any other questions.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
all right, this item is a public hearing. We invite anybody who would like to speak to this item to come up to the mic and do so now. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for further deliberation or a motion.
I feel good about it. I think it is kind of a tricky area, but I'm happy with that. All right, okay. Item 3.2, public hearing consideration of AWA Engineering's request for approval of the conditional use for a drive-through for the Golden West Credit Union located at 520 West Main Street. The motion being that we approve the proposed conditional use and site plan with the findings being that at the proposed location, the proposed use will improve the vicinity. It will be located and conducted in a manner in compliance with the goals and policies of the Lehi City General Plan and the purposes of the code. That the property, which is being used. The building and the other structures as proposed is of adequate size and dimensions to permit construction of the facilities and the conduct of the use in such a manner that it will not be detrimental to adjoining properties in the area. And please also lastly include DRC findings.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 3.3.
Item 3.3 is public hearing and consideration of Kylene Pace's request for conditional use approval to keep horses on 2.5 acres of property located at 3154 North, 4200 West. Chapter 12 of the Development Code allows residential zoning to have 2 horses per half acre. This property could have up to 10 horses on their property. The horses will be kept in a corral over 600 square feet in size. Because of that, there's actually no setback required, according to Chapter 12. The corral will be cleaned weekly to adhere to maintenance standards. The DRC had 2 red line comments, including to clarify how many animals the applicant is planning to have and what types of animals. But please consider all DRC comments in your motion. This is a conditional use, which are administrative items. If they meet the code, they must be approved. The Planning Commission may place reasonable conditions on the use to mitigate against any potential negative impacts to neighbors. This is a public hearing item. There were no online comments for this, so turn back to the Commission for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? All right, seeing none, is the applicant present? Did you want to add anything else? You don't have to. You're not forced to. We're not trying to compel you.
Well, I can add the property right next to me that you can see on the, I guess you can see what I can see, yeah? Okay.
Sorry, first state your name, please.
Oh, Kylene Pace.
Thank you.
The property right next to me is zoned agriculture residential, and they have horses as well. And the community that's been approved through the concept plan to be built around there is an equestrian community.
I had a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Do you know the number of animals you're going to keep?
No more than 6.
And they're all horses?
We're planning on horses. We might get a donkey, but planning on horses, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. This is a public hearing. If anybody would like to speak to this item, we'll open the public hearing now. Seeing none, we will close that public hearing and bring it back to the commission.
This is another one where I feel comfortable, where the allotment is 10 and the applicant has said they only plan on having 6. I think it's good.
That does not weigh into my decision there, but I agree. Like, even if they said they could have, they were planning for 10, that's what the code permits.
Right.
Right. So.
And this is good in that I want to see more of this in Lehi. I like this.
I'd make a motion if you're ready. Okay. Item 3.3, public hearing and consideration of Kylene Pace's request for conditional use approval to keep horses on 2.5 acres of property located at 3154 North, 4200 West. I move that we approve with the findings that the proposed use will improve the vicinity and it will be conducted in a manner in compliance with the goals and policies of the Lehi General Plan. Please include all DRC comments.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. 3.4.
Item 3.4 is public hearing and consideration of Golden West Advertising's request for conditional use approval for a pylon sign for Smith's located at 3808 West Hardman Way. I did want to note there was an error in the staff report. The second pylon sign, the 25-foot one, is no longer being considered. It's just the 70-foot pylon sign that is up for discussion today. The 70-foot pylon sign requests an exception to the maximum 25-foot height requirement of pylon signs. This is in response to the future freeway of 2100 North. The Planning Commission will need to determine if a future freeway overpass is justification for the additional height. The additional square footage should also be considered for this reason. Currently, the pylon sign is 900 square feet and the maximum is 600. Again, this is in response to the future 2100 North Freeway. The DRC had 3 informational comments for the applicant, all of which the applicant has been made aware of, but please consider these in your motion. This is a conditional use. The Planning Commission may place reasonable conditions on the 70-foot pylon sign to mitigate against any potential negative impacts. Conditional uses are permitted and therefore must be approved with conditions if applicable. This is a public hearing item. There were 3 comments online for this, which I can share during the public comment period, but with that, I turn it back to the Commission.
Katie, can I have you clarify that? This is a conditional ask, but it's outside of code, so we have full ability to say no.
So the sign ordinance states that that you can. There basically is an exception, like a bit of leeway up to 70 feet, but the applicant bears the burden of proof if that additional request is justified, and so that would be your determination.
Great, thank you. Any questions for staff?
Yeah, I want to ask a clarification. I think I understand, but I just want to make sure. In the report, it says the current square footage of the sign is 900 square feet, and the maximum is 600. Is what code says the maximum is 600? Is that what that means?
Yes, yeah, that is correct.
Okay, so they're asking for taller,
and
bigger
bigger.
sign. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff?
In the shopping center that's going in the Smith's parking lot, how many other businesses are planning to go in there?
Yeah, there's the Smiths, and I believe there's either 5 or 6 additional parcels, essentially, but those buildings could be split up into more businesses. I don't have many details on that. The applicant might, but yeah.
Thank you.
Do we know what kind of signage the Primary Children's Hospital has, how tall their sign is?
Yes. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. They do have a rather large pylon sign as well. However, the hospital is a bit unique in that it is exempt from our sign code just because it's considered a civic use or an institutional use because it's a hospital. But I believe their pylon sign is 70 feet as well. So.
Okay, thank you.
And we do have a 70-foot flagpole across the street at the Maverick.
We do, yes.
The car wash, yeah, over by there. Any other questions for staff? Is the applicant present?
Good evening. My name is Rick Magnus with AWA Engineering, here on behalf of the applicant as well as the developer, Smith's Marketplace. A few things about this particular sign, and to just help with the original write-up of the two monument pylon signs. We had received approval before on those. They're over there on like 3600 West. So what I'm here about is that pylon sign that is 70 feet in nature. I hope you had a chance to review some of the materials. Because of the overpass that is going to be located at this the 3600 West, there's going to be a 2100 North overpass here. And so what we tried to do is demonstrate why that additional height is needed, because once that goes in, you're going to lose a lot of the effectiveness of a regular height monument sign. It actually will be blocked because an overpass is approximately 30 feet from grade. So we took just a typical overpass and show what that's doing. Now, this particular view that's on your screen right now is looking south across 2100 on the opposite direction of traffic. So they're headed westbound, looking over there. So you see the side of the sign. If I may, do you have an opportunity to go to the other,
Yes.
some of the other slides just to give you? So this is, I'm heading east. I'm on 2100, and I am looking at the face of the sign, and this is at the, let's see, this is at the western edge of the property. So to your right, like where that little rectangle white area is, you can see the edge of the Smith's Marketplace that's currently under construction. So I'm looking east. Something that also kind of is looming in this general vicinity are those power poles that absolutely go through our site, and that's where we have parking underneath. But you can see there's a little bit of competition also with some existing items that are there. And as was mentioned, in this kind of general area, you do have the flagpole that's also 70 feet tall, and we always want the flag to wave, but that can be a bit of the same elevation that you will have with this sign here. To answer the question about other businesses going in, we usually have a price changer on this particular sign. It doesn't flash, it stays steady, marking pricing for fuel. And that is for the fuel center that's also located on site. Then there are an additional 3 other businesses that will also be going on this particular site. I don't know who they are. Sorry, I can't disclose anything that I don't know. But we've identified 3 other locations for mostly restaurant type uses there. So with that, what the idea was to combine and use a multi-tenant sign, first of all, to show who's there. Now, you got to think also, like, there's not going to be an off-ramp at 3600. So any type of information with the speeds of vehicles that are here and the overpass, they're going to be making a decision this far back, and then they're going to negotiate how they're going to go past 3600 and then come back, because that's how that will work. So this is a bit about safety also. I do want to put that out, because the higher the speed on a road, the larger the sign or identification marker you want, so that they have a longer distance to make those decisions, to then, I've got to get in the right lane, I've got to exit, and there we go. So I just wanted to have that conversation with you a little bit, and of course I'm here to answer any questions, but I do appreciate staff, again, publicly. They're wonderful. They have helped us through this, and I think we have a great product and location based on the other things that are up in the air, like the power poles, et cetera. So this will give good visibility for people to make the right decisions and how to get over to this commercial center. So once again, I concur with staff recommendations, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Just for clarity, this is looking east.
This is looking east, yes, at the western, like the northwest corner of the property.
Right.
And you've done that's a 70-foot?
That's at 70 feet.
Okay.
So I'm not even up to the first line of transmission wires that occur on the power poles.
To be fair, it's quite a bit wider than.
Oh, it is. Oh, no, it is. But if you're looking or trying to think, man, when I've been out in this area, it's going to be below those wires. So.
Who do you anticipate using this, Smiths? Is it? I mean, when they do these studies, they don't just come in here and throw one up just for fun. I mean, there's no off-ramp. The closest off-ramps that I'm seeing are basically either Redwood Road or the freeway would be the next one. So to get here, if you're on 2100, it's tough. So I was just thinking, who do they anticipate using this area?
So currently, we all understand that it's at grade and you're at an intersection and you are making that decision. I think about like the neighbor across the street, Maverick. That monument sign is just going to be obliterated by an overpass. It's going to be not obliterated, but missing. You're not going to be able to see it. The people here, we do always look at rooftops. That's very important because it becomes your Smiths. It becomes the neighborhood's Smiths marketplace, as well as these other restaurant or pad uses that occur. So what still has to happen with any type of commercial center is identification, and that usually comes from in this case, there is a themed sign plan that's occurring. And because the other monument signs you won't see, there needs to be identification to allow that movement to happen, whether it's previous or as I pass by it, and then have to make that decision to exit.
So, do they anticipate just Holbrook Farms coming on 3600 under the underpass to come to the Smiths, and then all that development that's south of there?
Yeah.
As I don't really anticipate somebody from Saratoga Springs that's getting on 2100 to go to the freeway to see the sign and go, oh, I'm going to try to get back to there.
Oh, I do understand
okay,
that.
Thank you.
So if, for example, let me just identify one use. So Smiths and other grocers now are starting to use order online, drive up, pick up, and leave. And so that helps identify if someone is going to do that or go through the drive-through pharmacy or get out and do something. This then becomes a place within the stops they have or the places they need to go. They would just go, mental note, okay, this is here. Oh, I can't get off at 3600. We're going to go. I'll go do these other errands first, circle back, and then they'll make that decision. This has happened in a few other places where Bangerter just passes by, but they still need to understand where that place is they want to go. If we were to stick with the regular code of a monument sign, based on the speeds that are going to be here, they're not going to see it. They just won't see it. And once again, there's a capture that's not happening. So that's why you see this particular strategy of where to locate a taller pylon sign.
Thank you. I'm not convinced, but
That's okay. Yeah.
Just even from this picture, right, we're at grade level, and by the time you get to the overpass, the sign's going to be, I'll be past it. So, which I think actually lends to your argument that a bigger sign is better.
I do. Based on the number of Smiths we do and grocers, we find that when it comes up to visibility or physical, just physical characteristics of that location, there's things that we really strive to do, and one is visibility. This is just trying to get that. Yeah. But once again, because of the speed and the location, a decision needs to be made by a motorist that makes it a little safer.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't like that argument because no, they're not going to get off at I-15 and circle back and wind through the neighborhood. The decision to go to this Smiths will have to happen when they're on Redwood Road and coming through and getting on to 3600.
So, and then also what this does is because of the wide right-of-way, also vehicles heading west now have an opportunity to see that and then make their corrective directional vehicular movements so that they can then circle around
to go all the way to Redwood Road and do the same thing.
So, yeah, and that's what we have because what we've identified is there's a lack of services out there that Smiths is trying to achieve. By the way, when UDOT decides to do that overpass, we don't know. That hasn't come up on their website for, for bid, for design, drawings, anything yet. But they are working in this direction.
I'm famous for hating signs.
I know that.
Right? I'm not saying that you don't have a right to, the businesses don't have a right. I believe in that, and I want to protect that right the businesses have to advertise. But the problem that I see, the biggest thing that hits me hardest, and again, this is more a sentimental feeling than it is a code, is that beautiful mountain that you are blocking its view. Up to the snow line. That's preposterous to me. Like, that, there are so many treasures that we have, and there's so few of them, and we cover them with signage, and it boils my blood. I hate our code, how it's written. I know you absolutely have the right to ask, but I wish we would rewrite our code so they do not have the ability to ask for this size. They don't need it. It's not needed, in my opinion. I don't feel like the justifications that have been brought forward, maybe there will be a need for it when an overpass is built. And maybe that's something that we cross the bridge there and say, now, where we do have an unplanned freeway project that is not completed, we don't know exactly what we're dealing with as far as visibility and sight lines yet. We know that there will be some complications, particularly for your customers that are heading west, right? And I think that's really more what this is designed for. Like you're saying, the people that are going east have made that decision at this point already. Yes, they could see a sign and say, oh, let me flip around, right, and turn around. But it's your customers that are going west that you want to get ahead of, which I understand why you would want to put it on the east side of the property, right? I get it. And again, I talk about this every time a sign comes up. I hope you don't feel like I'm picking on you, right? But I really, really hate this.
We're talking about years of it not being an issue while the freeway's being built, and it's just going to be like a thumb sticking up in the middle, covering up the mountain. I agree with Tyson. I think we should cross the bridge when we get there and not years ahead of time.
Craig, do you have any counsel for us on this? Katie made it sound like we don't. So,
The additional height.
Sorry if I made it seem like that.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's just the additional height. Like, you have the ability, if you can reasonably articulate why you think they should or should not get the additional height.
The height for pylon signs is basically allowed by code up to 25 feet. Anything above 25 feet, so up to 70 feet, that's where the kind of request comes in for that additional height.
Where else in Lehi do we have signs this size?
All over, unfortunately.
Just off the top of my head, Thanksgiving Point, their large marquee sign, the outlet mall, the other hospital, Holy Cross, the shopping center north of Timpanogos Highway, where the Harmons is. A lot of those big regional, even Macy's down here on Main Street, and they vary in height. I think the Macy's one may only be like 40 feet, so yeah, probably the biggest ones. The tallest is by far the outlet mall. It's like 100 feet tall. Mm-hmm. And then, from there's been several at like that 70-foot level. Even Edna's down here, their little restaurant sign. Again, that was for freeway visibility, but I think it's probably in the 70-foot range. Yeah.
think Edna's is an interesting example because of how much lower they are than the freeway.
Yeah, it's way down.
We don't know exactly how high this freeway is going to be yet. We know that there will be an overpass, but I would have a hard time believing it's the same height as what's next to Edna's. But maybe. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. Any other questions for the applicant? All right, we'll open the public hearing and come back to you if we have.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. If anybody from the public would like to speak to this, acknowledging we did receive quite a few public comments as well online, which we will get to afterwards. But if anybody here would like to speak to this, we will open the public hearing now. Seeing none, I'll turn it back over to Katie. Could you summarize those for us?
Yeah, so most of the concerns were over the height and potential impact of neighborhood character to the surrounding residential area of this, the townhomes nearby and the condos and things like that. There were 2 against, but there was actually just 1 question regarding where the 25-foot pylon sign would be located, and we'll be sure to reach out to that person and inform them of that. So.
We'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the commission.
With the, referring to that public comment, so is it, if it's, we're at 25? Oh, they already have the approval for the 25-foot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I'll go back to whatever I was doing over here.
Ken, you asked who will use this. This will be my neighborhood Smiths, so
Yeah.
I'll get a lot of use out of it. Second closest grocery store for me.
How will you get there?
I live on the other side of 2100, down by the skate park, so it'll be coming down the side road and then turning under 36. At least, I think that's how it'll go.
I actually disagree a little bit with your comment. I think a lot of people from Saratoga Springs would use this. There's quite a bit of housing just on the other side of Redwood Road. That's not far. And driving on Redwood Road to get to the other Smiths down the road, that's a nightmare. And the Walmart and things over there, like there's just, not that this isn't, this is also a very busy area. But I would think that they would capture some rooftops in Saratoga Springs.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you're going to drive by on a freeway and go, oh, that's the Smiths. How do I get there? I mean,
Right.
if it's a tourist from New York and they're just driving down the road and they see a sign, I don't know, I guess I'm losing the value of signs per se because we just use our phones now. We Google it and it takes us right there.
I do think I know that I have talked at length multiple times over the last 8 years about how much I hate signs. But I do think that there is a value to them. There's a wayfinding sign, there's some safety that comes with that as well. So I'm not fully anti-sign, but this feels egregious, especially when we have a couple of years to establish the presence of the business before there's the real need that they're asking for, right? They're asking for a future need. I think we have an opportunity to let the business get established now under our current sign code, and then they can make the petition when there's the absolute need, or when we know the size, height, when we have those plans from UDOT. Yes, that's another expense for the applicant down the road, and that is a large expense, I understand. But I feel like they have an opportunity to get anchored and established well before the need for that height is even present. And then maybe they'll decide that they don't even need that because they're well anchored and well rooted already within the community.
I know you've closed public hearing. Is there?
You're able to come up. You're an applicant. You can speak to us. Yeah.
Ooh, applicant gets twice. Okay, thank you. I do hear you on this, and you're right about the cost of signage these days. It's quite a bit. Is there any way we could table this and I bring back an alternative that may be shorter than this, but I promise you that a 25-foot sign on this speed of road, it's difficult. And also, just, I love the view as well. I really do, towards the mountains and everything else. I would hope that drivers aren't looking too much into that view while they're driving, but there is that view. And once again, with the other elements that are happening with the power poles and the flag pole and that, I wonder if there's a way I could come back and maybe shorten this as much as we can for the speeds that we have and the visibility, and just come back to this. And maybe, I don't know where that would take you. I don't know if you've just made up your mind now, but if there is an opportunity, I would like to have it if we could.
Absolutely, and if you would like to request the table, we'll be happy to do that, to give you time to come up with something that you think might be more amiable for this group.
More shorter.
I can. Before we this is part of my daily commute. This is part of my everyday neighborhood that I'm driving. When I'm looking at this, and there's a very important piece of infrastructure in the community, and it's bigger than that, I have a hard time with it. So, like, we have the hospital, which really isn't that far. It's less than a few hundred yards away, and the signage is bigger than that. I have a really hard time with that, where as a neighborhood person that drives past this on the daily, I would have a hard time with turning that small, relatively small area into like a giant shopping center like that. So just some of my thoughts off the top of my head.
Okay.
I do like the idea of tabling it and just come up with a different concept.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I
You were saying.
I agree. I think we can definitely work on something. But we haven't talked about the square footage.
Right.
So if you do create a shorter, would that also decrease square footage, or would
It would.
Okay.
It would.
So
And
you keep the dimensions.
It needs to be proportional too, so we would look at that. So you might have in and lower, but
Okay.
we would present that in our proposal.
I do appreciate you being willing
Yeah.
to look at different sides of the coin.
Let's see if we can. I know that the 25 would be ineffective for what's happening along here, but let me come back if I may, and I'll spend money. I'll eat dinner somewhere here, so you get my tax dollars. We'll work that out. But if we can, I would appreciate that very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the applicant requesting a table, I'll entertain a motion.